Welcome to another episode of How I Discovered My Gift with yours truly, David D. Simons. We got a special guest in the building, literally in the building, my brother from another mother, Jubril Wilson. So let me tell you all about Jubril. Jubril has been a licensed real estate agent since 2006 and has a mortgage background. He has multiple licenses in multiple jurisdictions: Maryland, Pennsylvania, Virginia, and Washington, D.C. Jubril and his team have served over 150 families within the real estate industry. He earned a bachelor's degree with honors from the Smith School of Business at the University Maryland College Park in marketing. He also earned a master's of business administration, his MBA, from Frostburg University. Anyone who has ever worked with Jubril says that he is friendly, very knowledgeable, and approachable. Jubril's niche is in new home construction and founded the brand, as you see that he's wearing, New Home University, at the end of 2017. He was able to earn over $50K in 1 month selling new home construction working part-time. How many people do you know sell part-time $50K in sales? That's amazing. So he was a top agent with the Bennett Realty Solutions in Greenbelt, Maryland, and now a managing partner of the New Home Division, the New Home University Division at Keller Williams, Metro Center, Arlington, and Caldwell Platinum One. In addition to that, he's been recognized as a platinum top producer since 2018, a realtor broker since November 2021, KW Metro Center agent growth partner for 2021 and 2022, an Myron Golden 100K Day Award winner in December 2022 through his company, New Home Construction. And also, I would be remiss to recognize him as Dr. Jubril Wilson because he received his doctorate from Higher Place University in March of 2023. And was recently, which we're going to get into, just launched the book with Mary Morrissey, the best-selling book, Brave Thinking, The Art and Science of Creating a Life You Love. That was just released literally in May. And lastly, if that's not enough, he's creating a certification for New Home University test prep and new home construction sales for realtors. Welcome to the show, my brother.
Wow. Hey, man, thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. So let's dig in, bro. I want to know the journey. Take us through, like from childhood to now, to who you've become. Where did that start? How did that begin? How did you get to where you are today?
How it started, man. I was a person who had a lot of imagination but didn't have the confidence. And when I say imagination, I didn't have a lot of friends. I used to play with myself, and I had a lot of action figures. So I would take the figures and play with them, and I would be the king of the universe, and I would just play with them for hours. And I would tell myself I was the greatest, and I would flip them around and break them and rebuild them. And I didn't have a lot of confidence in my name. My name, Jubril, it was not a common name. So that's why I would keep to myself and play with my toys. But my mother would finally have me come out. I would eat. Then I would want to go out and play and meet people and friends, but people would make fun of me when I would come out. So it was something off about me because I was really friendly, but also was kind of shy because I didn't have the confidence. As I got older, those same things that were fears, people started to accept, and I realized that I was a leader. But at that time, I thought I was, but it was in my own world with the toys. But in the real world, I just applied those same principles and told myself, I am the master of the universe, and things started to work out.
That's what's up.
Which we can get into in different ways, but yes.
Yeah. So, did you grow up as an only child, or you have siblings?
Well, no. So it was my sister, we're 18 months apart, so I have a sister. But I'm the oldest of 7 because my father had 5 other children. So,
Got you. So, take me into like your development as a youth. Like, what were you into? What were your passions? What were your interests? What?
Oh man, I love music, I love basketball, but I didn't start playing until I was in the 8th grade. But I realized I love basketball. I love also to compete. So I didn't really understand that at first, but I did love to compete, and I love to write. So first I thought I was going to be someone who wrote movies, but now I just do some of that in my own mind, using my imagination again. And I also love fashion. So I have my own T-shirt company. I had it in a couple of stores, had it in fashion shows, and that was one of my first journeys in terms of entrepreneurship.
Wait, tell us about that. Wait, so how did that start about? What happened? Break that down.
I used to really be into name brand clothing, and my parents told me that you should design your own label. But at that time, of course, my name Jubril, I just didn't think that would sell, and I was real shy. So I said nobody would buy my name or something. So I had a buddy who would have T-shirts or designer stuff, and when he outgrew it, he would give it to me. But I would cut it out, and I would sew it on, and I would wear that stuff. And then I eventually got bold and made some T-shirts, but I didn't put my name on them. I called them J.A. Productions. I had a buddy that we started a business, Jubril, and his name was Ashby, and we said J.A. Productions. People were buying them, and I got them in the different stores.
How old were you?
I was 17.
Wow. So you were selling them in stores?
Yes. At first, I was selling them out my trunk. I got my driver's license when I was 16. I was selling them out the trunk, and I go to different events and sell the shirts. And I created what you call artificial scarcity. I would go into the store, and at first I went with my book bag, and I asked them, "Have you ever had these T-shirts?" They were called Oro, and he said, "No, I never heard of those." I said, "Well, can you try a dozen, even on consignment?" He said, "Nah." He said, I'll get back to you." So we didn't, and I went to another store. That store said, "All right, sure, we'll try some." So my confidence got back. So I went back to that store, and I said, "You sure you don't want these shirts?" He said, "No." So some of my buddies got 4 or 5 of them to wear the shirts, and they went and asked about the Oro T-shirts, and I had them go to 3 or 4 other stores. By the time I got to the next spot, like a week or later, people were ready to take the orders.
Wow, the same guy that told you no.
That guy and then other people, because they all are in the same network, David, so they all started talking about my T-shirts.
Wow, and you
Before you know it,
uh-huh.
shirts were on New York on the cover.
Really?
I was in, what's it called, Teen Summit, BET.
What?
Shirts, yes, everything. Shirts are everywhere, man.
Wow, this is fascinating.
Yes, I used to use the T-shirts to get into events and then get into the clubs, and that's how I would meet basketball players. Oh, and New York Undercover, some Malik Yoba, Ananda Lewis had me on the show. I mean, it was a great experience.
Wow, so you literally built an empire, and like based off of something you were interested in. You didn't really have all the things you needed to have.
No.
You just went in and did it. You didn't allow.
No social media. I mean, I didn't know what to do. I had a heat press machine, which people use now, and I would just come up with the idea, get the imagination, and sing them all on the Master of the Universe. Draw the T-shirt. One was called "I'm Like That." That was one of my first shirts. And the back said "Are You?" Put these different colors on them and so on. They were everywhere.
Wow, man, you were the young Damon John.
And people were saying stuff about that. They were talking about FUBU back then. That was really hot. I don't know if you remember FUBU.
Oh yeah.
Right, so FUBU, and I went to College Park, so they were talking about armor, and so Under Armour. So
Yeah.
a lot of that. So I mean, but no, it was a great ride. Maya, I had my shirts. I don't know if you
Maya,
remember
yeah, of course,
Oh,
Maya.
Yeah, she still has it, and of course I had that tattoo, Oro. So if you ever, yep. But
That's-
man, no. So it didn't just start overnight.
Yeah.
And if you want to really take it back, now we have Sam's Club, Costco's, those different stores. They had something called Macro back then, and my mom would get a bulk order of sandwiches or drinks, and I would go right in front of my house and make a concession stand. But I didn't understand the part about expenses, so I would just take whatever I wasn't going to eat, and I would sell it. I would do that, and I would also go to the golf course. Our house was by a golf course. I'd get those old balls, the balls that come over the court, and I'd resell them back to the people,
Wow.
the golfers.
So you've always had this
Always.
entrepreneur mindset.
Always.
Did you see this around, or it was just?
I didn't know it was entrepreneurship. I would trade anything. I'd see somebody lose something, or they would give it away or say they didn't want it, then I would go and sell it to somebody else.
Wow. So when you think about it, Jubril, what's your most dominant gift?
People say it, so I feel it's just the power of influence. They try to say it's the gift for gab. I don't think of that as that seems like a con artist or something. So no, just a gift of persuasion, because I really care about people, and when I believe in something, that is why I'm persuading people to do it. It's because I feel like I have a benefit from it, and some things I didn't at first say that was something good, but once I've tried and experienced and I see it works, then I'm all for it.
Wow.
Whether it's a product, a service, a person, that's what I'm all for.
That's what's up, dude. That's what's up. So when you distill it, your gift is influence, and one of the ways.
Well, let's say persuasion. Right, that's what they say.
Ability to persuade. So, where's the first time you saw this gift in action in your life as a young person, if you can remember?
I was also a jokester, and I didn't have a big brother. I'm the oldest of 7. So in high school is when it really stood out, and I guess I joned, as they say, or they call it now, roasting.
Yeah.
A little few too many times with the bullies, and they were after me. And that day, I mean, I had butterflies and all of that, and they were ready to get me. But I guess because I also made people laugh, some of the other bullies decided, all right, let's not beat them up. We'll let them go. And then as I was talking to them, the bully, the one who wanted to get me, he laughed, so I realized also I have humor. So I can kind of get people to can laugh or talk my way out of some things, and that saved me a lot.
Wow.
So I don't have any scratches and stuff.
You saved yourself from some whoopings.
Oh my, definitely.
Wow.
But I also, I'll be honest with you, it was a situation where I didn't know that I was going to use that gift. So I asked Mom, I had to stay home from school a couple of times and play sick. just because I didn't know.
So you got to use it in good ways, and you also got to use it in other
whatever
ways.
It took, man. I'm telling you. Yeah. So my mother, after 3 or 4 days, she said, "No, you got to go back to school."
Wow.
So, but then and it was it.
Wow. So this gift of persuasion, it's in you, God given, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And you've had this journey you've come through to become the person you are today. You've leveraged that now in real estate, and take us through your career journey, right? How did you
for real estate? Sure.
Yeah. How did
I mean, well, I also that turned into sales,
right?
But because I worked for a company, I didn't work with too many people. First came out of college, I worked for the DC public school system. My mother worked for the DC public school system. She got me a summer school job as a provisional teacher, and I was about 23. So it was great. Summer school, $30 an hour. It was awesome, man. I was no children, nothing. Yeah. I was just buying tennis shoes, all the latest Jordans or whatever. And then, I didn't. It was real nice, man. Yeah. And because I didn't, even though I had a bachelor's degree, I didn't want to do 60 and 40 hours. And I saw that a lot of my friends, especially come from Maryland, they were in these companies, big name companies, and that's what they had to do.
Yeah.
Now all of us wanted to do entrepreneur, or I say play entrepreneur in college, but in the real world, that's what I really wanted to do. I couldn't see myself working for anyone.
Yeah.
I had no desire to work for the government or this Fortune 500. I just didn't want to do it.
Right. And
I just felt like I wanted more. And again, the master of the universe thing, I said, nah, this is mine. I want to do it. And one of my buddies just said, you are different. You can do it. I have to do the traditional way. You don't. Now, even though he had that nice salary, he still, and now he wants to quit his job.
Wow.
But he's so used to, you talking about over 30 years of doing it, that he kind of dibbles and dabbles with entrepreneurship, reads a motivational tape here and there, and goes to a seminar, but he can never really say he's really done it the way he could live and thrive. Because I don't just survive and go from penny to penny. I'm able to have months where I wouldn't have to work. And that's the best feeling. You know what I'm talking
about. Absolutely. So, okay, so you're working for this department with the school system.
Right.
You're recognizing, okay, I'm pretty good at this thing, right? And your buddy recognized you're pretty good at. So what happened next? Where did you go on?
I wanted to be a leader. So but I didn't have my degree in teaching.
Mm-hmm.
So they would give you these provisional jobs for 2 to 3 years in the school system.
Yeah.
And I really didn't have a desire to go back, but then they had this program where they said, well, why don't you just be a principal?
Yeah.
So again, I want to be a leader again.
Yeah.
But oh my gosh, that's a really stressful job. And you don't have the control or the autonomy that you think you do because you're answering to the school system.
Right.
And you have these teachers, the janitors, I mean, from top down, you have all of that.
Right.
And you have other people who want your job.
That's right.
And you have the parents, and you have the students.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so much that's beyond my control.
I can imagine.
So I realized I didn't want that either. And that's only for an extra 20 or 30,000 maybe
Mm-hmm.
to have all of that.
Right. It's a lot of
To
stress.
take your work home.
Ugh.
I've seen principals have heart attacks. I've seen all of that. And I realized that wasn't for me. But then you're saying, I still want to be great. I still want to have something. So that's prestigious, but it's not. So I had to decide, what's my purpose? What do I want to do? And again, with the influence, when you have that influence and gift, there's so many things you can do.
Right.
And people are going to always come, and you got to be careful in telling you what you should, who you should be, or what you should be doing.
Right.
Especially if your dream isn't happening, quote unquote, fast enough. I don't know if you know.
I
what
know
I'm talking
exactly
about.
what you're talking about.
And
Yeah.
they say that they're just trying to help you.
Right, right. Yeah. So I'm trying to understand here because you have this insatiable quest for being great, right? You want to be great. You want to be a leader. You want to dominate. You're competitive.
Right.
So
But more competitive within. Just being a better Jubril than yesterday.
Wow. Respect.
And that's what you have to be. You have to be, because the biggest battle is you. The little you versus the big you. That's the biggest thing. And as we talked about, the big F word, focus.
Right.
Focus, because once you make the decision, how long are you going to stay focused on that weight goal, on that wealth goal, on that income goal, on that leadership goal for you once you have a team?
Right.
Are you going to consistently be that leader and show up?
Yeah.
Or you go to a seminar on leadership and you come back, you're better, but
Yeah.
2 or 3 weeks later, you go back to the smaller person, and your team is only going to go as far as you. You know, they say you're only as strong as the weakest link. It's really you. It's really you, because when you win or lose, they don't look at the weakest link. They never do.
That's right. Look at the leader.
The leader. What
The law
we're
of the
seeing it
man.
we're seeing it in the sports
Yeah.
right now. They don't. When I don't think that the person, 15 players usually on the team, NBA,
Right.
13 or 15. Do they fire or get rid of the person that you never heard of on the bench? Have you ever noticed that?
They get rid of Doc Rivers.
Oh, stop. You can say this, man. But I'm just, have
Right,
you ever, do
right.
you even know who that person is?
No. It's something we say we don't even really think about.
But listen
right?
to what we've been taught. You're only as strong as your weakest link.
Mm.
Now,
Yeah,
have you ever thought about that?
That's really a lie.
If based on what you see,
Yeah.
have you ever seen that? Have you ever said, "Dad, they lost the playoffs," or "Oh man, I hope that the walk-on or the 10-day contract guy, I hope he'll be back, man. Oh man, I feel so bad for him."
Right.
That's not what happens.
That's
The next
not what
day,
happened.
a person. But look, think about it. When it's your turn, it's your turn. Because when I say is a person like a Doc Rivers or a person like a Monty Williams, they still get that guaranteed contract. And now Monty is going to be the highest paid ever coach. This the big 78, what is it, 78.5? You and I, we know numbers.
Yes. Yes.
But see, this is the stuff that motivates me. So even though he's quote unquote fired, no, he's been promoted. It's the way you see things.
Yeah.
It's the way you see things.
Right.
When you look at the Rock, that was just a rock. But to someone who made millions with the pet rock, because he saw something different. So again, the imagination that what pulls you out. And I didn't have a niche, so I wasn't really a top producer until I decided to have a niche, and I decided to have new home construction. And then I said, well, I'm gonna make it a university.
Yeah.
And that's what I did, man.
That's beautiful, man. So, where did your personal development journey start? What did you start consuming? Because There's a
Right.
process of purpose. On this show, we talk about 3 phases of purpose.
All right.
Discovering your gift, which you've discovered, influence, developing your gift, and then distributing your gift. We'll get into that later.
Sure.
But this development process, where did that start for you? Personal development.
Oh man. All right. I would say I looked at early on Robert Kiyosaki, some books, self-help. I went to a couple of seminars, but investing on the highest level started when it came to just real estate with Tom Ferry, and that was back in I think 2015 or 16.
Wow.
And he's the #1 real estate coach in the world.
Right. And I heard he doesn't even do real estate.
No, he's never sold.
That's
so,
amazing.
but if you Google it, for those of you,
Yeah.
Google it. But that's coaching. So that shows
Yeah.
it's coaching.
Powerful.
Some of the coaches that were really great. I mean, look at our guy who's Miami Heat. I don't think he's played, or he definitely was an
Haslam?
All-American.
Haslam or
No, the coach.
Oh, yes.
I don't
Eric
think,
Spoelstra.
Right. I
Yeah.
don't know if but I mean, he's dealt with some of the biggest names, first ballot Hall of Famers.
Yep.
Coaching.
That's good.
So you don't have to always touch the ball, but if you got to know where it needs to go and who to motivate and get them going to win.
That's good.
So that's what I learned, that your gift that influence gift can be a lot, and you don't even have to bust a sweat.
So when did that start? When did you? When
so
did
around,
you?
So around 2000. Well, since I had influence as a young age, then I did have people who could protect me from bullies and things. And
Oh, sorry. I mean with like Tom Ferry. When did you?
Oh, so 2000, I used that as a distraction. So I had it was this tough relationship I was in. I was trying to find a way to not give all the money to the bad relationship.
Yeah.
And it was my birthday was coming up, and I wanted to do something for myself, and it felt like I mattered. A YouTube video came on, I guess it was a sponsored ad, and it had something where you could go to see him in Baltimore. Now, it said to go see Tom Ferry, and it was free. So, of course, that was my favorite tune. Get there, it's not Tom Ferry, but it's of course, he has people who represent him, but that's
Right. Yep.
So, those people were great.
Yeah.
They spoke some life into me. They said, yo, you're going to be a rock star. You're a great guy. You need to go for it. So I said, all right, cool. So I signed on. I mean, it made me feel good. I signed on. And I did the payment plan at that time. And I did all right. That first year, I think it was about almost $10,000. And I said, if I do one transaction, it can pay for it. Because that's the way they also tell you. And that was true. But I did about 4 or 5. And I went for 4 to 5. Following year, I did 10. So up to 6 figures.
Wow.
Then I did the highest level, and the rest was, and I just did it.
Wow.
And that was in 2018. So as I did that program, I met this young lady named Nancy Vadrine, and that's how I met Mary Morrissey. And within 6 months, I was on that stage. I saw people on that stage, and I said, I want to do that. And I was speaking in front of thousands, man.
Wow, that motivated you.
And she just connected with me. Her whole family connected with me.
Yeah.
She married, and I got her. She agreed to marry Takesha, my wife at the time.
Wow.
Yeah, and I hadn't even met Takesha in 2000 till after Mary Morrissey.
Wow. Look at that.
And then a year later, we got married. A year later, 6 months later, we're engaged, and I'm on stage.
Dude, and you saw yourself there.
Yes, you got it, man. I do.
Yeah.
Sometimes I see myself in the playoffs, but I don't see myself there. I at least see myself on the low seats,
Yeah.
but not on the court. So you
Gotcha.
got to know, as you get older, you got to know
Where you can play.
where's your purpose. But
Yeah. No, that's great. So, personal development. Did it start with Tom Ferry, or you said Rich Dad Poor Dad? You were
Right,
You know,
but
you,
that was dibbling, and again, that's that. You can name drop a little.
Right.
You read a paragraph or a chapter or two. I don't know if you know what
Oh,
I'm
yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
you know?
yes.
You
everybody's guilty.
yes, and that was it. But I mean, even the cash flow game, I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever finished a whole game.
Gotcha.
The board.
Oh
no.
yeah, we got to do that. It's dope.
Yeah,
Yeah, I got the game at the house.
Oh wow. Yeah.
So let me understand this, right? So Tom Ferry, you make this investment. Is this the biggest?
And I was afraid.
Yeah.
I was afraid a little bit.
Yeah. Is this the biggest personal development
that
investment you
time.
made at that time?
Absolutely. It was one of those that you don't want to tell people.
Yeah.
For one, you don't want to tell people because they'll say you're crazy. So I still hear that noise. And you don't want people to think you have all this money.
Right.
And really, it's a major sacrifice.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't see it. It troubles me or just baffles me when I see people have a car, a real fancy car, And they want you to be the first to know. I mean, from when you wake up in the morning to you driving to the place and you picking out different, they make reels out of all of this stuff.
Yeah.
But have you ever seen anybody make a reel where they say, I'm going to a conference, I'm about to do this on the highest level, show you sign it? They don't do that. They don't do that. You're hot. It's because of what we've been trained. We want people to know when we go to college and grad school and get all these student loans. They don't talk about the student loan, but that's really what a lot of that is.
Right.
But they glorify that. But when it comes to personal development, the fastest way with coaching that you can get to any place, nobody really talks about. It's the hidden gem.
That's good.
I mean, without that concept, you and I are not sitting here right now.
That's right. Absolutely.
We're not. Neither one of us.
That's
If we
right.
both don't, because I could have been there, but you couldn't have,
Right.
or either way.
That's right. Yeah.
So I have a big, and you were talking about that journey.
Yeah.
And it all talks about superheroes. How did somebody become that Superman?
Right.
I call it pathing.
Speak
It's the
on
pathing. Remember my pathing?
Yeah, yeah,
So
speak.
pathing is when you make a decision, you can end up, it can help the universe or it could hurt the universe. That one decision or lack of decision and moving forward could change the world.
Wow.
And
Break that down. Break that down. You got to
I
go
mean,
deep,
so
man.
many you like.
Let's-
I mean,
let's go all the way.
It could go with just give me an example and I can give you a pathing. Just give me anything because I can freestyle with it and tell you.
Somebody
Awesome.
that wants to build $1 million business.
Well, let's talk about somebody who did or wanted to be the greatest.
Yeah.
Just look at Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Cut from his sophomore year.
Okay.
Decided he still wanted to be the best, no matter what. He wanted to be the best and the greatest. And I'll touch on the difference between good and great in a minute. But he decided it didn't matter what it said that day, and when he's cut, he was going to be the best. And was he, if I don't recall, in the 80s, he wasn't the number 1 draft pick.
I don't think
He was number 3.
Yeah.
He's number 3.
Right.
I think it was Akeem Olajuwon and Sam Bowie
Yeah.
were the ones over him.
Yeah.
You guys can check it in Google,
Yeah.
just in case, because.
Right.
But I know he wasn't number 1.
Mm-hmm.
But during his time, nobody really compared. They may compare a game series or something to him, but nobody was talking about he's not the greatest player. They may have somebody who scored more points, bigger, but in terms of better. And now when we look back, he really was the greatest. I mean, the things he's doing, his game, he was so great that I thought the stuff was rigged. I did, and now I think these are rigged. But now when you see a situation where my very own gets swept, that's not rigged. Because you always think that they're going to make it go more than game 4, or at least game 5 for revenue. No, they were gone. And I really thought the Lakers, when I touched on something, I thought that they were going to at least, LeBron got his most points, his son is going to. I mean, it's a great story. Even can they have one? Wouldn't the revenue, everyone going to make more money?
Yeah.
It definitely doesn't work like that. That proves it.
Yeah. That
proves it. I mean, and even with my, and it's sad, it just shows you that no matter how high you are, anything can happen. Mm-hmm. And nobody needs one player. And what I'm talking about, I'm just going a little deeper with this, is the Ja Morant. The Ja Morant right now, I mean, I would play to see him in jail. I mean, this guy is amazing. I'm sorry, I would. So you would think that nothing would happen to him and certain people are untouchable, but it just shows us time and time again that no one, because God is in control. He's the master, not us.
Right.
We are vessels here to make the planet better, and that's it. That's our assignment with our gifts.
That's good.
And when you walk out of it.
So how does that break that connection point to pathing? How does that?
Oh, pathing.
Yeah.
Well, first, just say this real quick so I won't remember. Always remember that good is when you have all the accolades individually. But great is when you can help what? People better.
Yeah.
Because the only way you win a true championship, and you and I know, is you make somebody else better.
Right.
Even if you have 63 points in an NBA game, you got to have it about 105 points to win a game.
Right.
So you can't do it by yourself.
That's right.
Now, pathing, again, is the decision to do something positive or negative, and that's how you end up in that path or that place. And so I give you an example, the investment to work with Myron Golden. When you make one decision, it goes and expands to all these other things, again, meeting you, learning things that I need to work on, getting a VA, getting multiple VAs, getting advice, you saying one thing that, Jubril, do this, or even the situation we just had where you just gave some advice, that's pathing. But he has to know, whoever called you, to do that at that time. Because they could have just done their own thing, but they decided to call you because they wanted the truth. So usually with pathing, you got to look for the truth, seek the truth, and you'll be free. So now, that young man's son, who he's helped and influenced, will help thousands of people because of that one call, us sitting aside for 30 minutes, and now we've both helped save the universe just by just giving of ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you see that one
Decision.
turn, and everyone being willing to just be gracious, because it wasn't about this moment, it's about the moments later.
That's good. And you've had some heavy hitter mentors in your life. You mentioned Dr. Myron Golden, who's phenomenal, a mutual mentor of ours.
Yes.
But you also
got Marquell.
Marquell Russell, great guy. He's been on the show.
And Andre.
Andre, shout out to them both.
That's right.
But you had a special relationship with Bob Proctor, the late great Bob Proctor.
Bob Proctor, yep. And then I'll just give a special shout out to Jerry Clark.
And Jerry Clark.
I mean, all right. So we just got to leave that out.
So talk about the importance of mentorship in your development and growing your influence as a leader.
Man, when you have those type of people, first of all, I don't know if you've been there, but you kind of almost starstruck. It's one thing to read their book and get their coaching program online, on person, but when you have these people talking to you and saying, David, you can do it. David, you better do it. David, I demand you to do it. That's different than your mom saying, baby, you're going to be somebody. No, and they're saying it in front of everyone. They're publicly saying it.
That's powerful.
You have no excuse.
Yeah.
Because it's not fluff. They already have your money.
Yeah.
It's not, and they come back and they follow up with you. That has done tremendous for me. From the kids that tease me to seeing a Bob Proctor, a Jerry Clark, a Myron. I mean, even you have said some things. And let me tell you what also really, really sticks. Well, not only they say it, but they give you uncommon favor that you know that they couldn't do in a true business model extra. Then that means they really believe in you. And when I've started to see that, that's when I know that my purpose, and these people who reach out know that it's bigger than me or them doing a favor for me. They know my influence and what I'm going to take with those extra powers or goods for the rest.
That's good, bro.
And I can feel that. That's what I know. And they know I'm going to do it in a cheerful manner. I'm a cheerful giver, share. That's just what's made me. Because in 2008, I'll say this, they said I only had 2 years to live. They had a heart condition. It was a false diagnosis. However, it really made me reevaluate myself in my life. And I had just lost my grandmother the same year. Michael Jackson, he passed. My grandmother passed like a couple of weeks afterwards. So when that happened, and then my grandmother, these are superheroes to me. It just changed my whole life. And then I got that diagnosis a couple of months later that I only had 2 years to live.
Wow, dude.
And now that was 2008. Look, 2023.
Wow, what a blessing. What did that do for you mentally? What happened? What transpired?
Oh, at first it frightened me. It frightened me at first.
Yeah.
I mean, you see that on TV. You got 1 year to live. What you gonna do? But I felt a little afraid.
Yeah.
Then I felt guilty. I started thinking about all the things that I had done wrong to people. Because you always start thinking, instead of saying this is gonna be a lesson, that's not really what you want to think. You want to think, well, why me? What happened? And so I almost accepted it for a second.
Yeah.
I said, well, I'm 30-something. I've lived. Then I said, no, I don't want to go. I don't want. I haven't. And I said, God, I know I haven't fulfilled my purpose. Give me another chance. And He said, I need you to be more of a cheerful influencer, not just a giver influencer. And don't give when it's just convenient. Do it when you don't even feel like it.
Wow.
Answer that call when you're not free. Because you just let me see what you're going to do. I said, I promise I'll do it. And I'll support others who are doing their thing as well. Yeah. And we can all, as a collective, make the world a better place. But you got to give me another chance. Yeah. And it wasn't a lot of parenting and fasting. I mean, I went to Alabama, and this Yemen Hank, her name was Yemen Hank. They passed on. And they nursed me for Cottonwood, Alabama. They nursed me with vegan. That's why I learned more about the vegan and lifestyle, and they just helped me. They were great. They were tremendous. Wow. And I had to invest about $1,500 to stay with them for a whole week. They were great people, and of course they passed on. But it was just amazing how they did that.
Wow.
man.
So literally, you changed your lifestyle, mentally, you changed your health.
Right, and it's been an up and down journey, as you know,
Yeah.
life. But I mean, I'm telling you, you can reverse type 2. So my type 2 goes up and down. That, thank God, it's only type 2. Type 1, you can't reverse that one.
Wow.
But it's just eating. It's eating. But as Bob Proctor told me, you can't outperform your self-image. So how do I see myself? I'm gonna let myself go, put certain things in my body that I know are toxic, that I know they're just not good for me. And it's not even real food.
Yeah.
So how do you see yourself if you do that?
Yeah.
So that's what I have to start reevaluating. Yes, millions here and all of that, but if I'm not here to share it with the world and help everyone, because I've gone too early because of the decisions, the pathing on my plate,
Yeah.
time and time again, and not doing the necessary checkups at a certain age. It's another thing.
Yeah. I hear you. No, that's deep, man. It
speaks to all of us.
For real. Health is wealth. So take me into New Home University, man. And how did this get birthed? And how did you be, as we talked about earlier, all the rock star accolades that you have?
Pathing.
Like, take us through that. How did you become this person that's able to do all these great things in this space?
Well, again, you just gotta. I think that everyone has to have a niche. It may be a couple of things that you're gifted at. It's a couple of talents. However, the New Home, when it came to real estate, I kind of got tired of going to these end of the year awards banquets. But I'm not a natural born photographer. But the people who win the awards will grab me and say, "Hey, take a picture of me and take a picture of all of us." For a few years, that starts to sting. You're clapping for everybody, but you know that you're supposed to be there. But how do you prove it? Your results don't say it. But again, you got to remember you can't outperform your self-image. Inside, I believe that I'm supposed to be there. So I decided. I had lost a friend, young lady. She passed in the 30s, and we never know what happened to her. And that was in 2017. So of course, in 2008, I get another chance. This young lady, and we didn't end on good terms, so I always felt bad about that. That I could have just been a little bit more generous. But when I found out that she had passed, it said life is. I wanted to say too short, but I changed the term. I said life is unpredictable, and I said I'm going to move in a different way. I went to my broker at the time. I said I want to invest in some real estate, and I'm going to do new home construction. I'm going all in new home construction. He called it a blue ocean. He said other things are red ocean. I mean, we were people doing investing, flipping, wholesaling, and I didn't really understand it. New home, love new home.
For the listeners, blue ocean he's talking about is a strategy where pretty much everybody he's going a different direction in the market, right? Everybody's doing wholesaling.
Right.
Everybody's doing fix and flips. You found a niche.
Buy and hold.
Section
8, all of that.
Yeah.
And everyone laughed at it, man. I'm telling you, they laughed at it.
Really?
Oh, my goodness. People said, why don't you do some real estate? What are you talking about?
Wow.
But when it's part of your purpose, it's not hard. It's tough at first, but it really becomes you.
Gotcha.
And I became Jubril Wilson, a new home specialist, 2018, and that was the first year outside of my first marriage where I, as an individual, were able to make over 6 figures working part-time.
Wow. Well, now somebody's listening to this is like, wait, doesn't make any sense. You're doing this part-time when that's somebody's goal to do that full-time.
Right.
So break that down. 50K in a.
Really it was 60, a little bit over 60 that month, but that was 2 years. That was during the pandemic, and that was by default. I was fearful because everything got shut down, but because I had new homes that were already under contract that particular month, which is in October, a lot of my contracts, about 4 of them, all closed, and that's how I got 60,000 that month.
Wow, bananas. And then,
but I didn't. If I had tried, David, during those 3 months, we were trying to figure out what was going on in the economy, and people still wanted to buy, but I was afraid to even talk to people. I was just waiting for everything to fall, and once that happened, I said, "Wow," because you could, and I didn't even have to go and show the houses. I could send them and so they were sending me contracts that would be signed digitally, and again, my checks sent to me digitally, $60,000.
Wow. So, and you were doing this again part-time.
Right. Well,
Right.
I stopped working. I couldn't work.
Wow.
I was afraid to work. They didn't really shut it. I just thought that everything was going to end.
Wow.
So
Bananas.
imagine if I would have just
Put the gas on.
right or called some people and said, "Hey, you still want to?" But I just was looking at the news too much. But so I ended up with $60,000 in my account.
Look at that.
Then I decided to hire, as you know, a VA. That was my first VA, and she helped me for about 18 months. And then I had to transition over, and you've helped me tremendously get some other ones and coach me through, because sometimes it's not just the VA, it's you, the leader. So all of this that we've all said, is you're only as strong as your weakest link. I think it all starts with the leader.
That's real. That's real, brother.
I mean, now that I said it, because you heard it, that thing all the time, you're only as strong as your weakest link.
That's real. That's real. No, that's good, man. So, you're doing new home construction.
Yes.
You got a blue ocean. You're using this influential gift, and now you're taking that gift of what you've been able to do, and now bring us into New Home University, because now you're helping others to do the same.
Helping others to do the same. And I love to teach, but I realize that teachers, it just depends on the lowest, traditional teachers are the lowest paid and underappreciated in the world. But it's one of the most important. So I teach my own way, and I had to create my own university. Again, the imagination and feeling like you're the master of the universe. And I said, well, how do I make this it's already bigger than me and go after me? Teach others to do more. Because people are very curious about how I do it. They went from don't do it, that to how do you do it? The builders, and it's the relationships, they allowed my wife and I to get married in the new home construction, in the model home. So when I say my relationships, that's another, I'm very, very effective of working with relationships and keeping them and building them and sharing them.
That's key.
So that's why I really could always have a place to stay. If I were to lose, but I'm telling you, you just set yourself up so you have so much resolve and reserve in the world, and so much that you've shared that you're going to be taken care of, because you're taking care of so many other people beyond. If you gave me some money, you called me and said, Jubril, I need you to speak with this guy or girl, whoever, you already know I'm going to do. I'm one of those first people that you know you can call.
Absolutely.
Explain the details later. Just tell me what you need. That's how I am.
I've seen that. I've seen that 100%. So, tell us about this 100K. You did
100K.
First. You're doing, six figures, and then you're doing 60K in a month, and then 100K in a day. Like this.
Well, that
for
concept.
the person hearing this, like, this doesn't make any sense.
Well, we got to definitely give shout out to Dr. Myron Golden
Absolutely.
and his team, Jeff, and all of them. They just work together, and they're awesome. I never had heard of it. I found out about this through my wife. She was looking at doing a challenge with one of his students, and I give her a shout out. Courtney Saunders, her name, and she said, "No, this stuff is awesome," and he did what you call a repitch for her challenge, and at the end, she was just so motivated, and I had just lost Bob Proctor. Bob Proctor and I were supposed to write a book. So this happened in February. Bob passed in February. And so I had already started feeling bad about the opportunity loss. I know when you don't move on stuff, again, life is not too short. It's unpredictable. But it's not short. You're in it. Don't keep focusing on short, because that subconscious mind, short, then you are shortening it.
Right.
Just say it's unpredictable and operate on that. So I said, wow, it's unpredictable. And I said, wow, what is this? Because she was in that room, and she was so in tune, I could hear it. She said, this guy's amazing. You need to talk. You need to check him out, and he's going to have a challenge. Now, his challenge wasn't free. Hers was free. It was $97 just for the basic level. I would have done the VIP, but I didn't even understand any of it. And I said, I'm not gonna sit on Zoom for 5 days, but I got it for her for a gift for her birthday, but she had to work, so she couldn't get on it. So I went and listened to it. And since you got the the 97, it was taped, so she could listen to it in the evening. And by the end of it, they made the offer. And at the end was her birthday. Her birthday was March 20th. So I called Myron. I called him. And it was March 20th, and he called us back. And we were in Ritz-Carlton. And he said, if you join now, you could come out and fly. And it just so happened that was another time when you can meet right that day. So I missed Monday. I was there Monday night, and I went Tuesday. Got to spend the day with them the following Wednesday, met Jubril, was selling Tampa, met all these people. And of course, my gift influenced meeting people, and it was just wonderful, man. Wonderful experience. I had him. He did call my wife and wish her happy birthday. All of this, man, it was amazing. He called us back personally that Sunday.
Look at that. Favor, uncommon favor.
Hey, so when you see that and you know you can't make these things up,
right?
You can't even see that they could happen.
Yeah.
So you know that when people do this, it's not just to say this happened.
Right.
You got to do something with this.
That's real.
And that's why I did it. And you and I met months later, but in August.
Yeah.
Yeah, met your lovely wife, and you met. So it's just, you see how this has happened. That hadn't even been a year.
Wow.
And now we're doing a podcast.
Absolutely. How about that? Look at that. So you see Myron model this, and then you ended up doing it yourself.
Right. So again, I believe that you do what you see. Now you can put a spin on it. But when you see people have 100K days, because you don't really hear that, not unless you're sports figure, and you have $1 million days. Myron, what do he have? He has 100K day. That's the lowest level. $1 million level. Then after that you get what, 5 million. And 10 million day. So those, just so they can understand, it's in sales, but you do get the person or people to put a certain amount that's non-refundable down on that day. So you still see a lot of it, and then the rest is a process, whatever payment plan or structure you have. But a lot of times when you do the payment plan, which is fine, you make even more. The price is even higher.
True.
So I watched you and looked at some of the others who did it, because I had started in March and I hadn't done anything, and it was getting towards November, and you said you were going to do yours. You did the webinar, and I had so many excuses, and then you showed me the blueprint, the back office, which I still wouldn't have been able to do anything with, but that was my excuse. So I saw that, still wasn't going to be doing it, and you said, well, we'll help you, and you partnered up. So again, this man just took me to another level and shared his team with me. At that time, I had 3 VAs. All of them had left during the challenge, and he just helped and assisted, and we made it happen. And so we both got the 100K day. And that's how I look at it. I mean, you were the Dr. Dre behind those beats, and we just did our thing, man. And that was history. And those students, I still have one who still pays, who still has to pay, and they do it like $1,000 a month. They just paid June 1st. So I prefer that model. Yeah. I prefer it because just think of somebody who works a job and they make $70,000 a year.
Yeah.
Imagine if they got all that money January 1st. What do you think would happen by April?
Yeah, it's gone.
You think?
Yeah.
How about the school teacher who opts to have their salary pushed out for 12 months as opposed to getting it all in 10?
Yeah.
You see, because you always will find a way to spend it or lose it. It just, have you noticed that?
Oh yeah, absolute, man.
And I don't care what level you're on.
Yeah, that's true. You're right, man.
That is, I don't know what happens with that. I don't know how. And then sometimes when I don't have, I say I don't think I can, and then I get it. Then 2 or 3 days later, then I still feel like I'm in the same position when I was praying to God for that blessing.
Yep.
So I don't mind it.
I hear you.
Some of them paid off, but I'm grateful for the one who's still, because I'm still getting something every month, and that feels good.
It is residual income. So as we wrap, Jubril,
we wrapping up or we rapping?
We rapping and wrapping up.
Because I know you got bars.
No. Okay, that's all you.
All right.
But take us into how somebody can work with you. Like somebody listening to this, maybe they're in real estate. Maybe they weren't new to real estate, but they want to get into this new home construction, or they want to work with you,
Or test
prep,
yep.
or tell them about the ways that people can connect with you and work with you.
Well, sure, you can reach me direct. My number, I mean, I just have to be real big for me not to give my number out, but it's 301-509-7138. That's the best way to reach me. You can text me or you can call, but 301-509-7138. Another way you can reach me is Jubril, Jubril, at newhomeuniversity.com, and that's an email. But if you were stranded somewhere, would you call somebody or would you email them? So those of you who are stranded or stuck and want to work with me and I'm giving you my personal information, I would use it. If LeBron James gave me his telephone number, you think, and he gave me also his email address, what you think I'm gonna do?
I'm calling.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm open. I love people.
Yeah.
If it's not a good fit, it's not. But I'd rather know sooner than later. And if you need help now, it's no excuse. I just gave you the number.
That's right.
That's not a Google Voice. That's my number.
There we go. So what are the services people can
Sure.
get help with?
Well, for buyers, people who want to buy and sell a home, I can help them get new home construction. That's what I specialize in. So that's where I have the advantage.
Mm-hmm.
I know the builders. I know when stuff is coming out within 2 to 3 years, even 5. I know those projects, and I have leverage, and they give me access to extra money for closing costs, and we can help your credit go up because we have credit programs with the builders.
There we go.
Yes, so you can save thousands of dollars, and I can do this in multiple states because I have agent partners who I can refer, and they can take you to those communities.
Beautiful. And then there's the test prep side for
Test prep, thank you. So test prep, I can help salespeople or brokers get your license. And we had, if you were with me today, we had 2 people beat their real estate exam as we're speaking earlier today.
There you go.
Yeah, so it's a great thing, and also for the personal development side, or also will help you with your real estate. We have the new home construction sales course. That's what we did the offer for the challenge. And we have now a certification program coming out for test prep. For those who've already beaten the exam and worked through me, you can create your own franchise opportunity to sell test prep and make money part-time through your computer. That's the way I did it. I made 6 figures last year doing test prep. That was just one of the pieces of the business.
Wow.
So it's 3 phases: real estate, which is the R, T is the test prep, and C is coaching consultant, which we call the RTC formula.
There we go. Love it,
all right,
man.
so
Getting streams, multiple streams.
There we go.
So, bro, you weren't prepped on this. We always ask every person on the show this question. What's the difference between one's gift and one's purpose? One's gift and one's purpose.
So they can't be both.
They can't be both. Or they can be if that's how you see it.
I see it. I would see a gift. We all have gifts, but that's what you would use after you use the gift after you've fulfilled your purpose or simultaneously. But the purpose is what God wants you to do. The gift is what you can do, what you want to do. But as long as you focus on your purpose first, which is the fundamental piece, why you're here, your existence, then your gifts, they'll follow.
Love that.
But the purpose is why you're here.
Let's go. Love it, brother.
Really?
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Where's the music? I don't have the music.